Whether you choose a fresh, clean white or deep, dramatic red, there is no easier way to transform a room than with a new coat of BEHR paint. Painting is an affordable way to make a big impact in your home. With the right BEHR products, good preparation, and application techniques, you can achieve professional results from your BEHR paint project and create a look that expresses your own personal style. Which BEHR product you choose to achieve a fantastic interior paint finish depends upon your needs. Premium Plus Ultra Interior Paint and Primer in One is a high-performance paint and primer all in one can. It's a low VOC paint and primer in one that provides excellent hide in fewer coats. BEHR's NanoGuard technology means tightly packed particles create a more durable paint film with superior surface protection. This BEHR paint stays looking new longer and is stain, scuff, dirt, and mildew resistant. Premium Plus Ultra Interior Paint and Primer in One also has superior primer performance, providing excellent adhesion to multiple substrates, sealing uncoated surfaces, and blocking common household stains. Another option is Premium Plus Self-Priming Zero VOC Paint, a premium paint that delivers excellent paint performance along with some primer attributes. In some cases, such as sealing uncoated and previously painted surfaces, a separate primer would not be required. In other cases, Premium Plus paint performs best when you use it over a primer, such as BEHR's Interior Stain Blocking Primer and Sealer. BEHR primers are formulated to promote better top-coat adhesion, especially on hard-to-paint surfaces, such as metals, oil-based paints, or glossy substrates. To determine if a paint coating is oil-based, apply rubbing alcohol to a clean white cloth and rub the cloth on the surface in a circular motion. If alcohol cleans the surface without softening the existing coating, the paint is oil-based. If the paint softens and the color transfers onto the cloth, it's water-based. BEHR's Interior Stain Blocking Primer and Sealer locks in stains such as water and tannin that would otherwise bleed through the paint coating. BEHR primers help to create a smoother, more even finish by sealing porous surfaces. You can tint BEHR primers to improve hide and reduce the number of paint coats needed when making a dramatic color change. And BEHR primers reduce the visibility of patched areas by providing a uniform surface to top coat. Whether you choose to save time with Premium Plus Ultra Paint and Primer in One, the convenience of Premium Plus Self-Priming Paint by itself, or trusted Premium Plus paint together with the primer, BEHR is the best choice for your painting project. The right color can transform a room, and BEHR makes it easy to find your perfect color. BEHR technology can help you visualize your color before you paint. Download our Color Smart app for your smartphone, or check out Color Smart by BEHR online at BEHR.com for instant color gratification. The best way to determine whether a color is right for your room is to paint a small swatch on your wall so you can view the color in the exact space and lighting conditions. BEHR's 8-ounce color samples are a great way to try several different colors in your home before making a choice. No matter how you find your color, we invite you to join the BEHR color conversation online through Facebook, Twitter, or our color blog, colorfullybehr.com. After you've selected a color, you've got to figure out how much to buy. It's important to purchase enough paint to complete your project without a large amount of leftover product. To estimate the amount of paint needed for your project, follow the steps in this section or visit BEHR.com to use the handy paint calculator. 1 gallon of interior BEHR Premium Plus paint or BEHR Premium Plus Ultra Paint and Primer in One is enough to cover 250 to 400 square feet of surface area with one coat. Quarts are available if a smaller amount of product is needed. And 5-gallon pails are available if you are painting a very large area. Many factors determine the number of coats it will take to cover your existing surface. You may require more paint if you are painting a porous surface, a rough or textured surface, an unpainted surface, or making a dramatic color change, such as changing a white wall to a deep or vibrant color. Choosing a deep or intense color may require multiple coats or the use of a tinted primer. BEHR colors that require a tinted primer or multiple coats are marked with a symbol on the color chip. You may require less paint if you are painting a smooth surface, a primed or sealed surface, if you are not making a dramatic color change, or have a room with many unpaintable features on the wall, such as window panes. Please note that specialty BEHR products, such as texture paint or faux finishes, have unique application techniques and will require different amounts of product. Consult the back of the label for specifics. To estimate the size of your ceiling area, first measure the width of your room. This ceiling is 12 feet wide. Next, measure the length of your room. This room is 10 feet long. To determine the total ceiling area, multiply the width and length measurements. 12 feet wide times 10 feet long is 120 square feet. So, 1 gallon would be enough to put 2 coats on this ceiling. To estimate the size of your wall area, first measure the perimeter of the entire room. This room has 4 walls that are 10 feet long and 12 feet wide. That's 44 feet. Next, measure the height of your wall. This one is 10 feet. To determine the total area, multiply the perimeter measurement by the height of your room. In this example, the 44-foot perimeter times the 10-foot wall height equals 440 square feet. An average window is 15 square feet, and an average door is 20 square feet. You can subtract doorways and windows from your wall area calculation for a more accurate estimate. Remember, 1 gallon of paint is enough to apply 1 coat to 250 to 400 square feet. So, we'd need 2 gallons to put 2 coats of paint on this wall. To calculate the amount of paint for trim, first measure the total length of trim for all expanses of baseboard, door, window trim, and molding. If you are painting the trim the same color, add all the lengths of trim for your entire room for a total length. For example, you might have 92 feet of trim of various types. One estimate of trim width is 6 inches wide, or half a foot. Your trim may be wider or narrower, but this will provide a rough estimate. Multiply your total trim length by 0.5 feet. In this room, there's approximately 46 square feet of trim. We'll need 1 quart of paint to put 1 coat on the trim. This should give you all the information you need for determining how much paint to buy. Remember, you can also use our online paint calculator on BEHR.com. When choosing a paint sheen, think about the room you are painting. In general, lower sheen paints are the best choice for minimizing surface imperfections, while high sheen paints are best for areas subject to high traffic, high moisture, or repeated washing. Flat is a low sheen paint with a non-reflective matte appearance that's ideal for low traffic areas and ceilings. Flat enamel has a low luster appearance and is great for low to moderate traffic areas such as bedrooms. Eggshell has a soft, velvety appearance and is a good choice for moderate traffic areas, for example, living rooms. Choose satin paint if you like a pearl-like appearance and are painting moderate to high traffic areas or areas that have some exposure to moisture, like kitchens. Semi-gloss is a higher sheen paint with a radiant, sleek appearance that is good for high traffic and high moisture areas, such as kitchens and bathrooms, as well as trim. High gloss paint has a shiny, glass-like appearance that is ideal for high-use surfaces, such as doors and trim. If you're using semi-gloss or high-gloss paint, apply multiple thin coats rather than 1 thick coat to achieve the smoothest finish. These recommendations are for surfaces other than floors. Floors need paint that is specially formulated, so if you are painting a floor, check out BEHR's porch, patio, and floor paint. A handy sheen guide is available on the BEHR color display in the Home Depot, so you can see an example before you choose. Having the right supplies at the start of a painting project saves a lot of time. Brushes should be high-quality nylon and polyester for BEHR's water-based finishes. Choose 3/8 to 1/2 inch roller covers for smooth or semi-smooth surfaces, and 1/2 inch or higher for medium to rough surfaces. Use only high-quality lint-free roller covers to avoid shedding loose fibers that could embed in your paint finish. In general, smaller nap rollers leave a smoother finish and a thinner film, which is preferred for higher sheens. You will also need a roller frame, bucket and bucket grid, caulk and a caulking gun for filling gaps, seams, and tiny holes, especially around doors and windows, cleaning rags, drop cloths, a ladder, masking paper, approximately 1 roll of painter's tape for every 2 gallons of paint, a paint tray and liners, an extension pole, patching material to fill small holes and cracks, protective apparel, a putty knife, stir sticks, a can opener, trash bags, sandpaper for sanding shiny areas or smoothing rough spots, a scraper for removing loose or peeling paint, a screwdriver, a scrub brush, and sponges. You'll find a checklist of items in the BEHR How-To Interior Quick Start Guide. After bringing paint home, protect it from extreme temperatures. Do not leave it in your vehicle or outside for an extended period of time, especially in very cold weather. To prepare your room for painting, create a workspace by removing items such as area rugs and furniture from the project area. If removal of furniture is not possible, place the items in the center of the room and protect with drop cloths. Next, remove what you can, such as outlet covers, doorknobs, pictures, hooks, and nails. When removing items that have screws, tape the screws to the back of the object to avoid losing these small parts during your project. When possible, removing a door from its hinges will make painting and drying a much easier experience. Protect what you can't remove with coverings, such as plastic sheeting and masking paper. Now it's time to make repairs and clean. If you have cracks and small holes, first remove any dust or debris from the area. Then apply patching material to the affected area and allow the patching material to dry completely. Sand the finished area, blending evenly with the surface. For peeling paint, scrape the area with a wire brush or scraper to remove all of the loose paint. Then, sand the finished area, blending evenly with the surface, and remove any dust with a lightly water-dampened rag. If you need to repair gaps and seams, remove any dust and debris, apply caulking to the area, and allow to dry completely before painting. On glossy surfaces, such as gloss paint and metals, scuff sand or etch the area to provide proper product adhesion. A properly scuff-sanded surface is no longer shiny. Then remove dust, cobwebs, and dry, loose material with a damp rag. For oils, grease, wax, and stains, apply a mild detergent with a sponge onto a lightly dampened surface. Rinse with clean water and allow to dry. And if you have mildew, use a mildew stain remover as recommended. Be sure to remove all residue and allow to thoroughly dry before painting. After you have finished preparing the surface, you are ready to protect with painter's tape. Painter's tape is great for protecting areas such as trim and transition edges. When taping, select a painter's tape specifically designed for your surface type. Check for specific use instructions and tips on the tape manufacturer's website, because using the wrong tape may damage your paint surface. Make certain the surface you are taping is properly prepared, clean, and dry. Tear off sections of tape that are no longer than the length of your arm. Make sure the tape is straight. Then, lay the tape on the surface and press firmly into the surface's nooks and crannies as you go. Avoid stretching the tape. Use a putty knife, mini scraper, or your finger to remove any air bubbles and seal the tape edge firmly to the surface. Textured surfaces may require extra time to seal. There's a technique for removing painter's tape that we'll cover later when we discuss cleaning up after your project. If you're using a separate primer, you can apply it now. When everything's clean, protected, and, if necessary, primed, you're ready to paint. Paint the room surfaces in this order. First the ceiling, followed by walls, windows, doors, and finally, trim. Start with bare paint that has been stirred so any color that may have settled is completely incorporated. When painting with a brush, it's all in the technique. Begin by using a brush that has water-dampened bristles. Dip the brush into the paint to about 1/3 of the total length of the bristles. Remove the brush and dab it on the tray or the inside of the can or bucket a few times to remove excess paint. Don't wipe the brush against the rim of the can. It will fill with paint and make opening and closing the lid messy and difficult. Repeat this at least twice to make certain the bristles have taken up the proper amount of paint. If the brush is properly loaded, you should be able to move the brush without too many drips. To apply the paint, position the brush to the painted surface vertically, using the narrow edge of the brush as a guide. Ideally, you want to use the narrow edge as you would a pencil. A brush with an angled sash works best for cut-ins. Apply paint in a straight line and move at a pace that would prevent the paint from dripping below the brush. Use enough pressure on the surface to ensure control of your painted line, but don't press hard. The bristles should flex slightly as you paint. Work in strokes 12 inches or longer. Avoid stopping and starting in the middle of stroke lengths. When painting vertically, work from top to bottom. Once the brush starts to stick or skip, which is called chatter, stop and reload your brush. After applying your straight line holding the brush vertically, turn the brush 90 degrees to gently smooth out your paint line with the wide edge of the brush. Do not brush back into any painted surface more than a couple of minutes after applying it. To avoid hard edges from paint lines, gently smooth out or feather edges with the brush. Maintain a wet edge when painting a surface. Make certain the outside edge of the paint does not dry, so it can be joined to the next painted area. This technique is used to avoid lines resulting from a hard stop in the coating. When painting with a roller, first remove any lint by lightly pressing painter's tape on the roller cover. Then, lightly dampen the roller and remove any excess moisture with a paper towel. Next, roll the roller cover into the deep end of the paint tray. Do this several times to cover the entire surface of the roller cover with paint. Roll off excess paint onto the shallow end of the paint tray. Perform this procedure several times to ensure the roller cover is entirely saturated with paint. A properly loaded roller should not drip when moved and does not require you to apply force against a surface when painting. The first surface you should paint is the ceiling. To paint a ceiling, work continuously around the perimeter of the room and cut in a 3 to 4 inch wide area at the corners with a paintbrush. Smooth out the cut-in area by lightly brushing the tip of the bristles over the newly painted area to create a feathered edge. Then, place a loaded roller in the corner of the room, approximately 3 to 4 inches away from the area you just cut in. Roll in one direction toward the opposite side of the room in parallel lines. Do not roll directly over your head. Instead, roll in a direction toward yourself. Roll the first coat in this straight line pattern, working quickly and continuously until the entire surface is coated. Do not roll in a W or a V pattern on the ceiling. Allow the first coat to dry completely before determining whether a second coat is necessary. If a second coat is needed, apply the additional coat all in one direction, perpendicular to the first coat, working quickly and continuously until the entire surface is coated. To paint a wall with a roller, start at the top corner of the project area where you have cut in a 3 to 4 inch wide area around the perimeter with a brush. Remember to smooth out the cut-in area by lightly brushing the tip of the bristles over the newly painted area to create a feathered edge. Place a loaded roller approximately 3 to 4 inches away from the area you just cut in. Working in a 3x3 area, roll a W onto the wall. This will help place an even distribution of paint onto the wall. The W should not be any wider than one arm length, which is typically 24 to 32 inches. Continue rolling from the top edge of the surface to the bottom. Using the W technique, repeat until the wall is completely covered. If you need to stop or break during your paint job, stop at a natural break in the wall, such as the corner of your room or at a window edge. Do not apply excessive pressure to a surface to try to squeeze more paint out. This can result in hard roller lines, drips, or sags. Instead, reload the roller as described previously. Let the tools do the work. Apply only enough pressure on the surface as necessary to deliver paint. As your project progresses, boxing or mixing your paint avoids slight color differences from can to can. When you are nearing the end of one container of paint, find a natural break in your project, such as a corner or the end of a section of trim. Open a second container and mix it into the paint from the first container. Stir well. This will ensure that minute color differences due to tinting will not be detectable in your finished project. Accidents sometimes happen. Clean spills and drips using a damp cloth and a little soap while the paint is still wet. If you have a drip on a painted surface that's still wet, you can feather it out using your brush or gently roll over the drip with your roller. If drips are dried, you may have to scrape the drip off and touch up the spot with fresh paint. Do not pull the drip. Instead, scrape and sand the area. Avoid leaving hard lines for touch-ups by feathering out the wet edges with a brush. Window casings, doors, and trim are most often painted with higher sheens because the glossier paints are the most durable, and the sheen highlights architectural features. To paint trim, start at the corner and brush the paint onto the trim area. Reload the brush approximately every 12 inches. Repeat these steps until all the trim area is complete. For doors, use a brush for painting in small panels. You can use a brush over the entire surface to avoid the appearance of roller stipple. For panel doors and frames, use panel bordering as natural break points, cutting around edges and filling in the middle. As with walls, work on the door from top to bottom. Allow enough time for the paint to dry fully before putting doors and windows back into use. Otherwise, they will stick together. When you are finished painting, you can carefully pull off the painter's tape before the paint has dried completely if you are using water-based paint. Remove tape using moderate speed and pull the tape back over itself. Re-grasp the tape so you are not more than 12 inches away from the pull. If your paint has completely dried and the tape begins to lift the paint, gently score the top edge with a utility knife to release the film before pulling further. If possible, you should allow your painted bathroom to dry and cure for 3 days before subjecting it to high moisture, such as the use of a shower. The more time you allow your paint to dry in high moisture areas before use, the less likely you are to encounter color bleed or a tacky surface. When you are finished painting, proper cleaning and storage will extend the life of your tools. For latex or water-based paints, clean with soap and lots of warm water. For oil-based products, clean with mineral spirits. Use a paint comb to clean the bristles of your brush. After cleaning, always shake out excess water from your brushes and squeeze and shake your roller dry. Hang the brush by the handle to allow water to drain down and out of the metal portion. Once the paint is fully dry, carefully remove all protective coverings from the project area and reattach items such as light fixtures and outlet covers. Before storing leftover paint, clean the outside edge and interior rim of the paint can. Do not let your paint freeze. Store leftover products in a dry location, avoiding extreme temperatures. Contact your household refuse collection service to dispose of empty containers and unused product. To maintain your beautiful interior, you may wash the walls after approximately 4 weeks or when the paint has fully cured. Keep in mind that some detergents, especially detergents with abrasives, may damage the paint finish. A mild, non-abrasive soap and water solution, rinsed with clean water, is recommended for cleaning your walls. When cleaning, use light pressure to avoid creating shiny spots called burnishing. Now, step back and enjoy your new interior. The best results come from the highest quality products. Good, better, BEHR.